The Incredible Hulk is the next movie in the installment of the MCU that we're going to look at, and it definitely does have a different feel compared to the rest of the MCU. So, is that a bad thing and just a plain abomination, or is that simply incredible? Hello everyone, I hope you're having a cinematastic day. I'm Josh, this is Simply Cinema, and before we get into my review, make sure to comment down below, what are your thoughts on this film? Is it good, is it bad, or is it somewhere in between? How does it connect to the rest of the MCU? Does the sort of unique taste that it leaves in your mouth give you a good feeling, or just really ruin the film for you? Make sure to leave that in the comments below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. But without further ado, let's begin. As Bruce Banner is looking to find a cure for his gamma radiation that has turned into the Hulk, he is shut off from his love interest and also is hiding from General Ross. And meanwhile, there's a new threat that eventually appears that creates the abomination. Starting off with the positives, like I said, there's a differently glaring difference with this film versus the rest of the MCU. Sort of has this different tone, different sort of story setup and plot, especially for being the first of an origin story in a sense, except it's not necessarily the origin story because he's trying to find a cure. Edward Norton playing Bruce Banner is definitely, I think, for me personally, I feel as the scientist, he's a better sort of version of Bruce Banner than Mark Ruffalo plays in the later movie. Mark Ruffalo isn't bad necessarily, but he doesn't necessarily have that performance and feeling that he's really nerdy and really looking into science as a whole and really analyzing. And just the plot between Sam and Bruce Banner was really intriguing, how they sort of connected through code and through the computer. It was very intriguing what they were trying to do, and then just introducing the Hulk into the film, the way they revealed it made it a little horror-esque, and I did really enjoy that aspect, just having it really dark and gritty in a way, but not sort of still having that lighthearted environment in the background. Made it really fun to reveal, just having him in the dark at first until they really got into revealing him was really well introduced, and sort of having the army as the, in a sense, villain for sort of a good portion of the movie, even though they were just fending off the city and trying to get rid of the Hulk and Bruce Banner with his gamma radiation. I thought that was really fascinating. General Ross had a really good character. Betty Ross as his love interest was pretty good. I wasn't a massive fan of her performance, but it was decent at the very least. And I thought everything, the way the characters blended together was really good. What they were trying to do with this film, how it was executed, it's slow in moments, but overall I thought the brutality of the Incredible Hulk was fun, and especially the very end battle. I thought that was really fun and entertaining, very underrated. The Abomination versus the Incredible Hulk, and just having that extra character that is striving to seek vengeance on the Hulk, is striving to get more power and more power. That created an interesting character and villain origin as well within the Abomination. And I just really enjoyed this film sort of as a whole. I thought it was pretty good. But moving on to the negatives, some of the CGI is not the best, especially when we get into rain sequence. Some of the effects on the Hulk doesn't look as believable in a sense when we get into that. And like I said in other parts, there's some moments that are just, it just drags the film on. The love interest with Betty Ross is decent, but it's not great. Some of the dialogue is a little iffy, and I didn't necessarily buy in their relationship completely because they're showing it, but I'm not necessarily feeling their relationship. But just some ways of how they produce this film are sort of weird. And as an MCU film specifically fitting into the rest of the movie, like I said, it does feel very different in contrast to those films. And that doesn't make it a great film when you're setting it into the franchise, when you compare it to this franchise. It is a good film as a whole, I would say, or decent at the very least, but it does feel very different from what it's trying to be. And being the second film, it clearly lost the taste of what they're doing with Iron Man. And honestly, as they're really getting, you can really tell they're trying to strive toward getting the right feel toward what they're wanting to get out of this franchise. Well, I think it's a rather good film and it has some great moments within. It does stick out like a Thor some within the MCU, and it has some moments that just drag the film down, and therefore I have to rate it simply 6.8 out of 10. Those are just my personal thoughts on the Incredible Hulk, and I'd love to hear what you think of it down in comments below. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss on the rest of my review. Make sure to check out this Iron Man review if you missed it. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and I'll be back for more movie reviews, rankings, and more.